going for Carly and for Reagan. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing a thing. We're doing a thing. I'm recording a thing. You probably blew it by saying that right at the beginning. Now it doesn't sound like a spontaneous, fun show on the recording. Well, fuck me, I guess. This is why my career is plateauing. No, thanks. I knew it was coming back here. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to record a thing here. So just keep that in mind that if it doesn't go well, it'll be your fault. No, I'm come back to the Midwest to record a thing because I could rely on the Midwest, and I'm from the Midwest, and I understand it because this is the part of the country that likes to tell you that there's no such thing as shortcuts in life. They remind you there's no such thing as a shortcut in life, and then in the same breath, somebody will tell you how much the Powerball is up to. Yeah, these are my people. These are my people. There's no substitution for hard work. Remember that. If it was 100 million, you'd be stupid not to get a ticket. You'd be a damn dumbass not by it. I put my whole paycheck on this one, now that the odds are even less in my favor. I don't understand why the people that play lottery aren't more afraid of lightning. Like, if you believe in those odds, shouldn't you be like... I got $20 on the pick 5. Is it a storm? Oh, shit. Why do you only believe in good luck? Oh, my God. Well, let's catch you guys up to date with me. I'm 42 years old, and my name is Kyle. Yeah. I don't know why you're cheering. You know what that means? It means I'm on borrowed time. That's what that means. There's no such thing as an old Kyle. You're trying to think of one right now. Don't. You can't. There isn't any. Nobody went to Grandpa Kyle's for Christmas this year. No. Kyles die in their early 20s in free climbing accidents. The way God intended. That's how. Right now there's 5 different Kyles that are just piles of bones in Patagonia windbreakers. Thawing out at the base of Half Dome. Waiting for a hiker to find them. Yeah, when a Kyle dies, Red Bull sends flowers to the funeral. R.I.P. K-Dog! I'm gonna miss you. Shit, what was the cause of death? Wicked air! Wicked air. Fox Motorsports sends its condolences. Yeah, people are like, what are you doing tomorrow? I don't know. I'm not supposed to be here today. The pages in my book are unwritten. I celebrate every day. Trying to get a grip on it. Can't just keep going on the same path. I'm practicing moderation, which is the least exciting option for an aging partier. That's it's not fun. It's good for you, and probably what you should do is get your shit together, but it's not an exciting story. Nobody likes that guy, you know. Kyle, what are you gonna do tonight? I'm gonna have 2 beers and drive home at 10 p.m. I fall asleep watching Forensic Files. Fuck that guy. Nobody likes that guy. You don't call that guy to hang out anymore. You got 3 options as an aging party. You got moderation, you got total sobriety, which means you went so hard you had to retire. And that's when somebody's like, I don't drink. You never drank. I'm actually in AA, and that's just mysterious, right? Oh my God, ooh, what's that like? Oh, you can't tell me. Now I want to know even more. Did you kill somebody? Just let me guess. Ooh, oh my God, it's so sexy and mysterious. That's a good backstory, because you can't tell anybody your backstory. Or you could just keep partying at the same rate and scare your loved ones. You could be that guy, you know, the guy that just keeps going, thumbs up in the front here. You're the space shuttle, and your social group were the booster rockets that sensibly broke off at an appropriate altitude. I gotta get up for work, I got kids, and you're this space shuttle in the middle going, let's find some Coke! Oh. That is a one-man mission, never to return again. That's what that is. Everybody's got that friend. Like, can you believe Billy died? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that guy was a maniac. I had Bill's funeral written on a Post-it note, and I've just been moving that around my calendar. Because I knew that shit was coming up. And the next couple of months, I just didn't know when. I didn't want to commit. But I knew I was going to have to ask for some time off of work. It was going to be a floating engagement I was going to have to adhere to. Because I don't know if I'm going to go all the way. So you got to hit rock bottom to sober up. And like, I've never hit rock bottom. Well, I don't know. It's all perspective. You know, there's no true definition of rock bottom. You know, one person's rock bottom could be somebody else's. Oh man, they're not gonna let us back into that water park. Yeah, one person's, that's why I knew I had to go to AA. It's like, that's why I can't go back into that Chili's in Streamwood. I don't think I've ever hit rock bottom. I hit the sides all the time. All the time I hit the sides. But every time I get to a low where I think this has got to be rock bottom, this whole new realm opens up. It's like, ooh, get the headlamps and the climbing gear. We're going spelunking. We're going in search of this elusive rock bottom I keep hearing about. This fictional land. Guys, my rock bottom, I took 3 weeks off of doing everything. That was rock bottom. That was the saddest I ever got, was at 3 weeks of not drinking, and I found myself, I was just cleaning my bathroom on a Saturday night in absolute silence. And I was like, this isn't how you celebrate freedom. That's not how you live, you know? That's all right. Hey, take a Saturday for yourself and do some chores, but have a good time. This is your own little part. Clean the bathroom on a Saturday. Bottle of wine, Motley Crue's greatest hits. That's what you're doing. Too Fast for Love. Squirt, squirt, squirt. Just Yosemite salmon, 2 bottles of Tilex into the ceiling. This says using a well-ventilated area. I don't even have windows in this bathroom. Another victory for the kid. Oh, God, I gotta take a walk outside. The floor is sliding underneath the wall again. Saturday night, I'm just on my knees in front of my toilet with a Clorox wipe. Like, well, this task is done now. That's how inmates pass the time. That's not how you celebrate freedom. Ooh, I got another 19 months, may as well clean the shitter. No, you do it, you fucking drink, and you have fun. Otherwise, what are the troops even fighting for? If you're not celebrating your freedom. Just trying to keep it together. I don't get real political about stuff, and I try to ignore as much online shit just for my own happiness. Even if it's like, did you hear what happened? Nope, and I feel great. I just gotta look at the main page of like, ha, it's terrible. Ha, nah, I'm gonna make some waffles. I know it's out there. It's not gonna change whether I know about it or not. So I'll just try and Try and handle, like, I mean, especially online, too. Everybody's so polarized online. Everybody's like gives this representation of themselves. Like, I'm all the way to the left. If I'm online, now I'll retweet. Everybody has their own bathroom, or nobody gets a bathroom. Whatever the fuck argument is the right one, I'm on that side and all that. But then in real life, you realize everybody's kind of swimming in the gray, brackish waters between the sides. Nobody's like that committal in life. Everybody's got that little bit of pliability. Like, I was like, I'm Republican for $30. $30. That's how much the fast pass at Disneyland costs. And man, did I have a holier than thou attitude. Because I had the $30 and other people didn't. And you know what? Fuck them. Tough shit. Your boy's getting to the front of Space Mountain. He's looking down on families. Maybe if you could have controlled your libido, not had so many kids, you could have had this privilege. But look where you're at. Harness your passion, all right? Just because I can afford to live well, don't judge me. Everybody gets a little bit Republican as soon as they just have to start paying for their own Netflix account. That's the minute. As soon as you're paying for it, you borrow a password, you're like, yeah, scamming the system. It should be for everybody. Joy should be free. And then you start paying for your own, and the first person's like, man, let me get that Netflix password. Like, we can't just all have it. We gotta pay for it. You have to pay for it. If nobody pays for it, then it collapses and nobody gets anything. So we all have to pay. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. People are up in arms about this college scandal. Rich people pay. I buy cheat codes for video games, the same shit. How much for all the guns? $10? You got it. Here's my $10. Suck it, 12-year-olds. Throwing down. You know why? Because I got disposable income, you don't. I'm better than you. Why won't get Trump is using tax loopholes? We all want tax loopholes. Not a single person in here is walking into their accountants going, I'd love to pay the appropriate amount. I mean, tell me exactly how much. You know what? Put another 200 on there, just in case. Put some in the pot for later. That's what I would love to do. Everybody's like, can we have this meeting in my car? Can I write off the mileage? What can I do? I'll write it off. I'm like a week away from bringing my own personal belongings just onto the stage to write shit off for tax deductible. Man, PlayStation's weird, isn't it? Anyway, here's mine. There you go. I'm pushing out new mountain bikes over here. I have a fucking jet ski behind me. I'm gonna do shows that just looks like I'm on the set of a showcase showdown at Price is Right, trying to write stuff off on taxes. I'm the opposite of Mitch Hedberg. I'm like, I do need a receipt for the donut. I'm buying this. I bought this donut between shows as a work expense. I'm gonna write off this donut. Everybody wants to find loopholes and this and that. Like, there's not a lot of rules. You know, there's laws, but there's not a lot of rules. You know, you can't do that. Why not? Whatever. Go through your life and realize how much stuff is laws that you're worried about and how much stuff is just rules. Like, don't talk to a stranger. Don't do this or that. Like, I'm fine. I'm 42. I don't know how much a suit costs. No idea. Not a single idea. You show me a suit. How much you think? $100,000. You're way off. Okay, 7 grapes. I don't know. I have no idea. I do not have a clue. Can I get this suit for 7 grapes or $100,000? I still eat food off the floor. Whatever. I eat food off my floor that's not even food that I dropped. I'll just be in my house like, man, is that falafel? Because I haven't had that in a minute. No, dude, that's part of a sandal. All right, well. What are the cops gonna do, arrest me? No, it's fine. I'm alive. I'm not even supposed to be, so whatever, every day. I'm taking any of that shit. Like, my friend I had one friend getting divorced, and he had to serve papers, which that seems like that should be something done legally and by the law, like, oh, papers from the court in America, documents, important documents from a judge. And you know who can serve those? Anybody. Anybody you want. Just any fucking idiot in your life can just serve documents and have it be a legal transaction. Like, oh, I gotta make sure that these important judge signs documents get to somebody. Cool, I'm gonna get my buddy Jerry, who I met at the bar, to jump out of the bushes like a rapist. You want me to take the government seriously? Nah, man, nah. Not about that. Oh, man, I just try to get, I'll go camping because then my phone won't work and I can't even get caught up in any of the bullshit. But it's like, I'll go out there to try and maintain some positivity and some good attitudes, and I'll go into nature, but then there's always negative. If you have negativity, it's like always gonna follow you around. You can try and outrun it, but it's always gonna be a little bit hiding in the shadows, waiting to jump out on you. I went camping, I hiked up to a waterfall, I was by myself, I was admiring this waterfall. I'm not even a God-fearing man, but I was looking at that, I'm like, if something made this, maybe, woof, because this is like a purposefully designed tapestry cascading across the creation that has been made here. And then still there's a voice in my head that's like, hey, Kyle, what if waterfalls are just rivers that are trying to kill themselves? Like, oh, God damn it! Why can't you just let me have 5 minutes? I'm trying my best. Go camping up in the mountains. There's bats where I go camping. I like bats. I think they're a maligned creature. I think they get a bad rap. Bats eat. Okay, we like bats. Okay, we like bats. Well, good. Bats eat mosquitoes, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And clearly that would get more support around the Midwest where standing water is an issue. Mosquitoes killed my dad! Well, I was at my campsite and it was dusk and they were all just flying around. And I had this thought. This thought will scoop me up out of any kind of bummer. And maybe it works for you, I don't know. It's more visual than anything, but I was looking at the bats and I was just kind of ruminating on them. And I just thought, I'm like, man, I bet you bats with big dicks don't get a lot of sleep. And that... You gotta think of it visually. Okay, if nobody's there, bats sleep upside down. So if you imagine, like a comically large penis, not just like big for it, like too much dick. And it's upside down, just trying to get some sleep after a long night of being a bat. But it's got a big old crank that's it's just hitting itself in his little bat face. And his little bat arms are swatting it out. Like, you got... Imagine the next day he's hanging out with other bats and he's just got that comically large... He's like, it looks like a blessing, but it's really a curse. I can't... I'm too tired to do anything with it. And I don't have the cardiovascular system to maintain an erection. If I get a boner, I'll die. So I just gotta fly around thinking unsexy thoughts. Just praying that I can see another day, which is ironic because I'm blind, because I'm a bat. I'm trying to echolocate another day. Which is weird because time's a concept and that doesn't work with the sonar. That even seems like a country fried phrase that should have been out already in the world. You're like, oh, you look exhausted. I'm more tired than a big dick bat, I'll tell you that much. Like, that rolls off the tongue. I don't think I invented that. That comes out too easy. That, like... I feel like I saw that needle pointed at Cracker Barrel or something. Like somebody snuck that in amongst all the wholesome stuff. I think I read that in a Farmer's Almanac. I was like, that's old prospector lingo. Some guy coming down from the mountain with pots and pans tied to his overalls. Emmett, did you find anything? No, and I'm more tired than a big dick bat for looking. When everything goes away and we're all dust, if that phrase remains in the lexicon, I will consider my life a success. So if you take nothing else from this show or anything tonight, but you remember that phrase, use it. Not sparingly, use it generously. Use it Monday morning. When you're at work, go out Sunday night hard, just so you have an excuse to use that sincerely. Your boss is like, what'd you get into? I don't know, man. I'm more tired than a big dick bat, I'll tell you that. And they'll just say, what does that mean? You'll be like, I don't even remember, really. But it sounds right. Fuck. You guys know what the saddest song in the world is? Any ideas? No? You don't even know a sad song. Okay, I only listen to happy jams. A lot of people have suggestions. They say the Titanic song, which is it's a song of its own. You know, or people say. You don't have to point. I saw her face. You can't make that kind of sound without having a face that goes with it. Look at you. You don't even have neck muscles. You're like a newborn. And you're not laughing along with everybody else. But you brought this on yourself. Well, there's that song, too. Sans context, it's a pretty sad tune. Saddest song in the world is Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett. But not Margaritaville as it was written. You got to think about what Margaritaville is now. Because now Margaritaville isn't a fictional location where some made-up, relaxed dude like, I guess I screwed things up, whatever, que sera. Ooh, thatched roofed huts, white sand beach, I'll get over it. No. Margaritaville now that you know it's a real brick and mortar restaurant that sits in the parking lots of shopping malls throughout the country. If you listen to the lyrics of that song, but that's the setting, that's the darkest shit you've ever heard in your life. Not some fictional island that's in the Caribbean. How do we get to it? Stolen jet boat? Maybe one of them airplanes that has hot dog buns instead of wheels so it can cruise right up onto the beach. No, Margaritaville number 218, St. Paul, Minnesota, let's say early February. It's the tail end of a lunch rush. It's a community college dropout behind the bar just wiping off laminate menus. And there's a man sitting at the bar by himself, openly weeping into a basket of coconut shrimp. Some people say that's a woman to blame. But I know I know. This is my own damn fault. Hey, Terry, you want to get your shit together? There's families in here right now, bud. I get that you're a bit broken up, but we can't be like this. My assistant manager's here, and you're looking real overserved right now, all right? I can box this up, and you could eat it in your van, but I can't have this. That's a Pee-wee soccer team in the back room, all right? Let's get it together, okay? Can I get you anything else? I'm just looking for my lost shaker of salt. There's one on every table. What the fuck does that even mean, man? Why are you wearing fucked up flip-flops? It's freezing outside. So pay less shoes across the parking lot. I'll give you the money for boots. That joke will be even better when I learn more lyrics to Margaritaville. Don't pity me. Man, I bet you when Mexico turned 15, that party was fucking crazy, right, bros? That's it. That's just a quick one. That's just a quick palate cleanser. Turn all the dials back to zero. Oh, no, man. I don't know what kind of shit I gotta worry about in this world. Everything that's happened, like, there was like a hot minute where being a comedian was cool, and then everybody took their dicks out. And that's the thing, because like I've never sexually harassed. I don't think I've ever sexually harassed anyone. And I'm not saying that because I'm unsure. I'm saying that because you don't get to say that about yourself. You don't get to claim that about yourself. You need third-party verification. You need people vouching for it. You can't say that about you. That's like calling yourself a rad dude. Oh, you most certainly are not. You need other people going, he's all right. Get a notary in there. Get something stamped. I don't think I've ever sexually harassed anybody. I have pet the fuck out of a service dog, though. And I don't know if that's part of the same conversation. But if it's about consent, I didn't ask. I got right up in there. I was like, fuck your vest, girl. Get over here. Yeah! Get your scritches. You get your scritches. If I wasn't supposed to pet you, you wouldn't have been a dog. That's how the world works. That's how the world works. Ooh, let me get you by your tail. Ooh, look at your leg going. Look at that leg going. Ooh, yeah, your vest says no, but your body says yes. Yeah. Oh, shh, don't get nervous. He can't see us. Come on. All right. I don't mess around with the seeing eye dogs. Those are trained professional creatures doing a much needed service. But if you have an emotional support dog, we all have emotions. I'm gonna pet that dog. We all have emotions. That's what separates us from the psychopaths. How am I supposed to prove to you that I'm not a psychopath unless you let me pet your dog? Did you hear me? Let me pet your fucking dog! Because I want to prove to you I'm not a psychopath. Whatever. That was, I could have moved the microphone and not done that to all of you. Oh, fuck. I don't know. People get mad about gentrification. Let me preface this one. This won't go on the recording, but I will say thank you. And if you hear me do bits that I've done before, I'm doing them because I'm recording them. So I'm sorry. You deserve new material, but I've just. See, that wasn't funny and didn't need to be said, but I wanted to let you know. Like I know I did the fucking bit before.
We love it all.
Oh well, thanks, man. You were the thumbs up guy about dying soon. All right. Please don't. I need fans that age. Every time I get a fan base, they die real quick. Okay, thanks. I appreciate you. Everybody's nice. No, I do. Okay, well, there's two stories. See, I told the story about getting kicked out of Canada. Or a story about a sex shop. You just went, eh. I'm asking because I want feedback, so thank you. What's that? Canada one? Is anybody, you been kicked out of Canada? You have.
I'm supposed to go to Carnival in August.
You mean the Cirque du Soleil?
But I got Carnival is like it's like
Isn't that in South America?
no, it's in Toronto.
I think you're going to the wrong one. The one with all the butts and the shaking? No, that's the one they just put gravy on the fries. Somebody sold you the wrong package, man. Mucho excitement for Carnival. Bienvenidos a Toronto. What was Carnival like? Was it sex and cocaine? I was like, no, like arcade fire played. Saw a Leafs game, it was all right. But you got DUI. I'm not assuming, he said that earlier, but also a little bit. You got, yeah, and so you can't get in?
5 years you gotta wait.
Fucking 5. I was waiting for 10. It does suck. Well, no, because that happened to me, except I went there and they sent me back. Because, yeah, I mean, I got a DUI too, and that's, I mean, you can make jokes about it, but there's no excuse. There's Lyft and there's Uber, and don't be stupid. I got lucky, because all I did was get caught. I didn't crash. I didn't hurt anybody. I just got pulled over, and that was the luckiest scenario. Because then when you get a DUI, you're like, can't believe I got a fucking DUI. And then you think about all the times that you drove drunk, and you're like, yeah, that's parcels out to about $20 a pop. Oh, this shit's cost me 10 grand. It's like, no, divide that up into all the times you should have gotten one. Because I got caught, I got pulled over for doing 5 miles an hour over the speed limit and following a car in front of me too closely, which sounds like bullshit, and it was. I know I got pulled over, and I got pulled over for singing. That's why I got pulled over. Not like how you sing in your car, like how you tap your wheel and you hum a tune. No, 3 a.m, I'm in a white Ford Ranger with a mismatched camper shell, which is already suspect. And it's this face in the front seat. And I wasn't singing, I was putting on a show. I was trying to win a goddamn Tony Award up there. So I had the windows, I was like, oncoming traffic, where you going? Get home safe, all right. See you on the other side. People in my lane, we can go to my house. I only have 4 beers, but we can share them. And then the police were just like, probably. And I couldn't even fight. They pulled me over, like, you know why we pulled you over? I was like, yes. You know it. But so that and some other stuff shows up on computer monitors when I try to cross international borders. So I was going to Canada. You know, it's weird because I was going for work, and so you already have, because you have to fill out that border card where you have to put occupation, which is already, that's tricky, because if you write comedian, it just sounds sarcastic. Yeah, you're a comedian? Yeah, you betcha. Look at this. Pull my finger, your mom's a slut. Whatever, yeah, I'm a comedian. Sometimes I'll put writer, because I did write this stuff down in the notes app on my phone. But I'm never, when I'm put on the spot, I'm never articulate enough to, like, back that up. You know, like, oh, it says here that you're a writer. I'm like, fucking yeah. Bet your dick. Did you just say bet your dick? Fucking yeah. Giveaway there is that if you're a writer, you put down author. That's... Giveaway there. Sometimes you put down entertainer, but they expect way too much when you do that shit. Especially going to Canada. They get all them fucking gymnasts and stuff up there. Like, entertainer? We're unicycle, juggling penguins or something. Top hat full of glitter. So I get up to I was going to Calgary. That's where I was going from. Yeah. A timid woo is all it deserves. Woo! Hey, nobody? Oh, yeah. So I get up to, land, got my border card, got my passport. I slide that passport, which is a bit of an outdated, document for what we're using. Like, in this day and age, you still need a passport. This day and age, where I can accidentally use my thumbprint to buy $400 of Shania Twain songs on my telephone. Oopsie, looks like we're gonna find out whose bed those boots have been under. But to travel across international borders, do you have your fun little book filled with little stamps? Do you have your cute little book filled with fun little stamps? Little collectible, colorful stamps? And your fun little book with your fun little stamps and your cute little book. And if you lose it, you can never go home. Ooh, what size should we make it? Oh, the most losable size. Without a doubt, the most forgettable, losable size possible. And let's make it kind of slippery. So I give this to the border guard. And she's looking through it. She's like, what happened on this date and this date? And I explain. I'm like, I got DUI, took care of it, paid all the fines, did all the classes, I'm very remorseful, blah, blah, blah. And she just gives it a beat. And she goes, well, we're sending you home. Like, just matter-of-factly, didn't no explain, we're sending you home. Like, I showed up to work with the sniffles. Should get some bed rest, And I was confused because I'd been to Canada since I got the DUI. I'm like, I'd been here since then, and I have proof. You're holding it. Look at the stamps. I have the little cute stamps from Toronto and from Montreal and from Vancouver. I've been to those places. And she looks at me and gets real, just real like Law and Order stare. Like she's like, yeah, well, this is Calgary. And I was like, yeah, you're the shittiest one. Nobody gives a fuck about Calgary. You know I know nobody gives a fuck about Calgary? Because I landed in Calgary, and over the windows of their airport, the windows that you want to look out of when you land in a new place, they had painted over them because there was a rodeo going on. They painted over them with cartoon horses and cowboys and little friends like, yahoo! Don't forget to come to the rodeo. A guy might sit on a horse for a little while or whatever the fuck happens at a rodeo. You don't paint over the windows of your airport. Even Calgary knew, like, when you got there, like, let me see Calgary. They're like, it's not great. And so they knew to paint it over. That's not when you can paint over windows of a mattress store on 4th of July. That's when you use window paint. Like, everybody knows what mattresses look like. You don't need to see them. You need to know, like, hey, celebrate your freedom with a good night's rest and get a deal. Or you can paint over the windows of a piano store when it's going out of business, which is always. There's no such thing as a grand opening piano store. It's just one lonely guy going, man, I can't believe nobody wants to buy these living room Cadillacs, 90% off. That's when you paint the windows. But not at an international airport. The people want to know where they're at. And she just tells me, she's like, we're going to take your passport. The next flight back's in 3 hours. If you try to leave the airport, you'll be arrested. And so that's it. You come back here in 3 hours for your ticket and your passport back home. And I was just like, it was like so quick. And I was just, and I'm just left to wander the Calgary airport for 3 hours. Prisoner. So I'm like, well, like I said, I don't get political. But I got political because I went to the bar. Because my thought was like, listen, alcohol got me into this situation. The least it can do for me right now is shepherd me through. And I put my foot down and made a political stance. And by that, I mean I walked into that bar, and before anybody even talked to me, I just said, I'll tell you this, I'm not drinking any of this Labatt's Blue shit, all right? You're not getting any of my money today, Canada. You give me a Budweiser, USA. And then I thought twice about that. I was like, wait a minute. USA's the one who gave me a DUI in the first place. You know what? 2/3 of North America kiss my ass. You got Dos Equis? That's right. Viva la Mexico. Here we go. So I just sat there drinking green beer after green beer. I used up their whole lime. They only get one per season up there. I was like, it's mine. So I got 3 hours worth of beer drunk. Wandered back to go get my passport and my ticket home. I was feeling a little cowboyed up. I think the murals did it to me. So I rolled back into that office with a little more Johnny Cash in my blood. I didn't wait for anybody. I just went, I'm Kyle Kinane. And there's a different woman behind the counter. And she just went, yeah, we know, because you're the only one. Yeah, well. And she showed me the clipboard. It was just my name on it. You're the only one that has to leave. And then she yelled into a door behind the counter, back into the innards of the office. She just goes, he's here! And the side door opens up, and two of the largest Canadian stereotypes, like if you imagine a Canadian stereotype, that would come in second place. Like if two syrup-filled moose came through that door in hockey gear apologizing to each other. That would be the silver medal. Just antlers intertwined, just, oh, sorry, oh, no, oh, go ahead, oh, sorry. Oh. These two guys came in, bumped into each other, both trying to go through the door at the same time. And I was like, because I'm thinking like, well, this is a security that's gonna escort me out, and I'm like, well, you probably think I'm some sort of piece of shit that can't even be here, so let's start the stink eye game. And I was ready to give them a bunch of attitude, because they should be giving me attitude for being the crappy American that's being booted out. But again, keeping with Canadian stereotypes, I've never met nicer people in my life, regardless of context. Because I'm all ready to be like, yeah, throw me some tood, bros. And they came out, and Emil was just like, is it Mr. Kinane? tell me if I'm saying it right. I don't want to... Correct me if it's wrong now, because I don't want to keep saying it wrong, and then we get too far along, and then you don't want to tell me. You know that Dan did that when I started, and he didn't know, and it was like 2 months before he's like, do you say your name? And it was embarrassing. Anyway, we understand that you're being asked to leave under the circumstances that you got a DUI, and Dave and I, we understand. We love having a few pops ourselves, but you can't, you just can't operate the motor vehicles after that. And we know you got your stuff together, and we just hope that this incident doesn't paint the lovely nation of Canada or the fine city of Calgary in a poor light. And we hope that you can get your paperwork together soon enough and come back up here and visit us real soon. We got a lot to offer, a lot of fun things. We got a rodeo that's a lot of fun. I don't know if you saw the windows out there. Guy might sit on a horse for a little while. That's the big fun with that. And I just flipped. I was like, I never wanted to hurt anybody. I'm so sorry. Kindness was overwhelming. But then they were my escorts to make sure that I got on my flight. So they're walking me through the airport. And now I'm already like flight weary, 3 hours of beer drunk. And now everybody else in the airport is, looking at me because they see me with these two redwoods. Walking me, and they're looking like, who are you? I'm like, yeah, who am I? I'm a fancy little bitch, aren't I? They don't know I'm being kicked out, so I'm gonna take it. Now I'm royalty. Take a picture, Google it, whatever. You find self-esteem where you can find it. And we're just shooting the shit. And then we're walking by the food court and realize I gotta soap up this booze. And so did I say soap up? I gotta soap up this booze. I need a real sudsy gut before I get on this plane. This whole recording went to shit right there. Just took a dump. You know what I meant. I'm gonna soak up this booze. Haha, nailed it. Don't say nailed it, because now they gotta edit that out. Regardless. Going by the food court, and I want to get something to eat. That laugh will make no sense. This guy's so funny, he just said he wanted to get something to eat. Pissed my pants. This kid's got it. He's got the stuff. So I'm trying to joke around with my guys, but they're a little thick upstairs. Because we're walking by, I'm like, guys, what are they even serving in first class? I hope it's not lobster. I'm not in the mood for shellfish. And they're just like, no, Mr. Kinane, it's going to be a coach fare ticket. You'll be returned to the USA on the same fare that you entered the country. I was like, yeah. So they let me go to the food court unsupervised. Lucky me. And then I go to Burger King. I always like to eat at Burger King whenever I'm in Canada or the UK, because I think it tastes a little bit better out of respect for the crown. I always think they're in there like, what if she shows up? Make it nice. So I walk up to a counter, and it's like, trying to keep it together. But I was like, I would like Whopper. It's enthusiastic, you get excited. It's a Whopper. I was like, I would like a Whopper. And the woman looks at me, and she just flatly, she just goes, no. What? Had to double check, We've all done that. Ordered the wrong menu item from the place that you're at. I want a Crunchwrap Supreme. Sir, this is a car wash. What? Oh, man. I wonder when it started raining out. It was a nice day 2 minutes ago. You just standing here and tell people this isn't Taco Bell? It's a weird job. Maybe you should redesign this car wash. Make it look less like a Spanish mission. I know Taco Bell hasn't had that architecture in decades, but still. How far can I weave off course with this bit? Pretty far. I look, I'm like, no, I'm at the right place, and this woman's incorrect. So I go back, I'm like, Whopper. Whopper. And I was like, oh, wait, this is Canada, and it could be one of those parts that speaks French for no fucking reason whatsoever. It's not even a border country. Get it over it, you know? So I'm like, wapapia. Wapapapa. Wapia. Le wapia. Fucking cheese, queso, fromage. Wapia con fromage. Wapapie con fromage. Double shit, I am hungry. Du wapapie con fromage. Double wapa. Fuck. Double, and I'm just like yelling and spitting at this lady. Wapapie, c'est fromage. Fromage du wapia, du. Fucking two of them. I'm just screaming, and I finally, like, I'm saying every letter. I'm like, what, con fromage? That, one of those words is Spanish, but the other ones are French. Cut me some slack. And she looks at me and in perfect English just goes, we don't have any. And that's when I broke. As a human being, I broke. So I was like, you can't say that to me. That's an untruth. Because this is Burger King. This is where it lives. This is its home. That's your slogan. It's the home of the Whopper. And the Whopper's always home. Whopper's never not home. Whopper never takes a weekend off. Whopper's never like, oh, chicken tenders, watch over the shop. It's been a stressful week. I need to go to the countryside to collect my thoughts. Whopper's the hardest working sandwich in the sandwich game. Whopper's the James Brown of sandwiches. Those are the last two statements I yelled at this stranger. I said, the Whopper's the James Brown of sandwiches. Now you're just fucking with me, Canada. And I ran off, and my two guys were there, and they saw that I was distressed. And like, oh, Mr. Campbell, all I wanted was a double Pierre with queso. And she said it doesn't even live there, and she can't even say that to me. And then I ran into the bathroom so they wouldn't see me cry. I don't know if you've ever had like one of those like long travel, drunk on top of a hangover cries, like just in a sink, no privacy. The businessmen washing their hands, you're just like, oh, this is who you are. This is who you are. The other men in your family have been in wars. I walk back out. My guys are actually coming back from the food court. They went there to defend my honor. And I was like, all right, now bust my balls. I'm like, what's going on, guys? And they're like, Mr. Kinane, we found it very peculiar what you had said about the double, we call them double Whoppers with cheese here. But I don't know if I know you live in Los Angeles and they might fancy it up in the Beverly Hills. But We call them double Whoppers with cheese. And we went over there to find out on account of that is their home, and they should be there. And the lady explained to us, she said that because it's an airport location, they only make a certain amount of the sandwiches for the day. And then when they run out of them, that's it, which is unfortunate for a customer like yourself. But they would rather run out of them than make too many of them. And then if they don't sell them, they would have to throw them out. And that's a travesty in Canada. I don't know. Because you don't realize how much effort it goes into making just a single Whopper with cheese there. Because you got to think you have the cows that donate the beef, and then you have the dairy, the cheese from the cows. Same if before they died, I guess. I don't know. But I believe there's mayonnaise that would fall under the same category as the cheese, and the people that make the cheese, and the lettuce and the tomatoes. And the onions. I don't get onions myself, but Dave, you get onions. Yeah, anyway, so that, and the farmers, and the resources, and the bun, and the little seeds on the bun. And so we'd rather just not waste any of that and disappoint someone such as yourself. That's how Canada works. And I was just like, you guys could keep my passport. I don't have to go home. I'll live here, and you'll be my gay dads. I know that probably comes as a surprise because I think you're both younger than me, and I don't know if you're a couple or gay, but I think we can make it work because this is a very progressive country, and I think if anybody would accept, you've treated me nicer than any family member that I've ever met, and I think I want to stay here, so we'll just do that. I'll just make my life here. I can already start talking like you guys if you want. They explained that wouldn't work, and they walked me to the gate. And at that point, I thought I was just going to run onto the plane with my backpack shaking, like it was my first day of school. Bye, dads. I love you guys. Running onto the bus. But that's when it got real, because that's when it was like, all right, lockdown. Because now I got to the gate, and they were starting to board, and the gate agent was like getting like, all right, old people and people with kids, we're going to get you. That's the last privilege you have in this world, so we'll get you. When that's the last you see, just these elderly people standing up and their kneecaps are exploding into dust. And, well, at least I get on first. And then just people with small children who they've just been sticky for 8 years. They're just random pieces of paper stuck to their bodies because that's what it's like, I guess. And just let me get on the fucking plane before I murder my children. And they were all lining up, but then the gate agent saw me. She's like, hold on, everybody, we got one. And that's when I got walked Green Mile style in front of everybody I was giving sass eyes to. Everybody was like, I'm a little prince. Nope, I'm just a fucking criminal. And if you want to know what true priority boarding is, get kicked out of a country. You're the first person on the airplane. You were the first lonely man walking by like, yeah, they got to lock Hannibal Lecter down in coach. And then everybody walks by just looking at you like, what have you done? There's no end to that story. I guess don't drink and drive. Especially if you like Canadian rodeos. I don't know. There's no moral. It just kind of peters out. But like it, that story peters out. Then here's somebody go, that's the last call. Sure is. No, it's not busting your balls. Also, tip your servers all the money you have. Tip them all the money. No, because I'm up here talking my ass off. And I don't know how that correlates, but you should still give them all your money. Always, if I can tip Lyft drivers like they're angels on earth. Yeah. Falling out of the back seat of somebody's Prius. Let me hug you for a long time. Oh my God, what's your address? I want to invite you to my wedding. Getting married? No, but just one day. You deserve it. You deserve a nice plate of salmon and some dancing. I want you to have that. Okay, I'm getting more sensitive. You know, I know I'm like, you don't know how I know I'm getting sensitive because I'll still watch skateboard videos on YouTube. But now when I watch them, I get sad when the security guard shows up because I know that they're going to be mean to him. It doesn't touch down a lot. There's like some 40-year-olds wearing Vans going, yeah, we were real jerks to those guys. And they were just trying to do their jobs. But we were assholes. 10 years ago, I'd watch a skate video and be like, fuck yeah, Toby, you got this. Nollie heel flip, that 10-step. You're going to crush it. You're going to get that shoe sponsorship, and you're going to go pro, and I believe in you. Fuck this narc. He never even had dreams. He don't even know. This guy was born old. Look at him. He came out of his mom's cooch looking like he was 90. Fuck this dude. Hit him with your board after you pull this trick off, and you show him, because you're going to make good lawyer money. That's what's going to happen. You're going to go pro, and you're going to live above the law. And I'll watch that video now. I'm like, Toby, you got no natural ability. That's why it takes you 100 times instead of 10 times. You got persistence, but not skill. And that's dangerous because you're going to try it too much. You're going to blow out your knees, and you don't want to do that because you're going to want to golf in your 40s. Trust me. I know that sounds weird, but focus on your strengths. You're a great artist. Maybe they'll let you design the bottom of the skateboards, but this isn't where you're going, and you're not going to go pro. You might do all right on the amateur circuit, but you're going to ruin your ankles, all right? Also, this guy, he's a retiree. He's making minimum wage right now. He's got no pension because the factory closed down, and he's making minimum wage just trying to keep his model train dream alive, and you're being an asshole. That's what's going on right now. He's a veteran. You're being disrespectful. That's the truth of the situation. And it's like, I didn't know I was going to be that guy. I didn't know I was going to be up here empathizing more with old-timer model train guys rather than skateboarding youths. So I don't have model trains. Not yet. But I get it. It's a tiny world that you get to control. And that's very attractive in this day and age. There's a lot of scary shit out in the world, especially for old-timers that are not used to the changes that are going on. And they need that model train set. They need to be in charge of something. You know, like just spending whole days down there. I'm just going to paint this hillside. We're painting this hillside red and gold because it's always autumn. It's always autumn in my little town. I love autumn. Never winter. Don't like winter. Summer's too hot, but autumn's perfect. Oh. Met my nephew's boyfriend the other... You know, it looks like we could squeeze another church in right here. I think we could squeeze another church in right next to this church. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I understand it, you know? You gotta channel your misconceptions about the world to somewhere. I don't have model trains. I have remote control cars. Same thing. Tiny world, and I'm the boss of it. You catch me on a day off, and I'm just in the alley behind my apartment. I'm wearing shower sandals, a free t-shirt, and basketball shorts that I should have thrown out 13 years ago. But there's some attachment I have. Like just when the elastic just quits entirely, like you stretch it out and it never returns, it just stays there like a weight loss success story. And whatever elastic is, when it ages, it just flakes off like a good croissant, you know? But instead of getting rid of them, you're like, fuck that, that's what the drawstring's there for, plan B, baby. And you cinch that so tight over your own belly button that it's cutting off circulation, and my gut's turning purple, and the elastic to the shorts is just drooping down like a blue whale's lower lip, just trolling for krill. Yeah, yum, yum, yum. Give me them shrimps. And in between those two areas is a felonious amount of pubic hair. I'm not wearing underpants on my day off. I don't soil my delicates on a day off. And I'm out there driving my cars back and forth, just like, who's living their best life? You are, dog, crushing it right now. And I do that because I got a woman in my life who loves me unconditionally, and that's a very dangerous place to be in because it lets you go out into the public like that with no repercussions. It's a dangerous thing. I'm out there with half a dick hanging out of retired basketball shorts. And I got neighbors going, are you all right? You're like, I'm getting laid. Don't worry about me, dog. Don't you worry about me. That's not even a question they were asking. They were concerned about your mental health. Like, my dick's wet right now. Don't you even sweat my lifestyle. I'm winning. Honestly, if she wasn't in my life, I'd be doing the same thing. It's just the inner monologue would be a lot more dark. Be out there driving back and forth, but just real quiet like. It's like they're trying to leave, but you keep making them come back. If you love them, just let them go, Kyle. What's Kyle doing in the backyard? Oh, he's just Thelma and Louise in his toy cars into the pool. He'll be all right. He's just going through a thing. As long as he's not putting rocks into the pockets of his bathrobe, he'll be okay. I'll talk about my folks and get out of here right quick. No, in a good way. I love them, you know. It's a rarity. My parents are still alive and still together. Yeah, well, I mean, they're not here. What's that? That's work. Yeah, I know. You should see their faces. It doesn't look like it's been easy. But it's got, I know that's like a rarity in the world now, and I go and I don't know, like, because they're old, and I don't know if their actions, like if it's senility, like they're getting old and the gears are slipping, or if there's this kind of graduation present for living that long, that you can just start not giving a shit. Like you could just give up, because that's where they're at. Like even like lessons that they taught me to be a good person. And now you're like, I remember how you taught me. They're like, yeah, no, that wasn't real. Yeah, my dad just clipping his toenails at the kitchen table next to his food. I'm like, what? What are you doing? It's my house. Like, it's not an answer. Some self-respect. Like, they came to visit me, and I was excited, because rarely do they both come out to visit me at the same time because of schedules. I was excited. I'm like, well, what do you guys want to do? You want to go to the beach? Beach is a classic. Beach, everybody's happy at the beach, you know? We'll go to the mountains, and windy drive up the mountain. That's not something you get in the suburbs. You know, maybe we'll go to the desert. Ooh, desert's spooky, mysterious. And there's out Midwest, they're like, they got bowling? I'm like, yeah, they got bowling. So we went bowling. We went to this bowling alley. Now we roll up there, all the lanes were taken up, so we gotta wait for one to open. So we're at the bar having drinks and snacks, as you do. And this bowling alley, it was like an old-timey bowling alley. So instead of having the little inflatable tubes for when you know how you want to bowl, but you don't want the challenge. Oh, I love bowling, but it's just so difficult. You can put those inflatable tubes so you can bing-bong your ball down to the end. Well, this bowling alley, since it was old-timey, it didn't have those tubes. What it had were these mechanical rails that were hidden underneath each lane, and somebody would just press a button, and be like, lane 3. Somebody push a button, and those little rails would just click, 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 and just steampunk their way up. And I thought that was pretty neat, because I hadn't seen it before. And neither had my mom. And she let everybody know. And the way she did that was from the bar of the bowling alley. She was pointing at the lane where those rails were going up and just bellowing, just going, I never seen them do that before. Did you even know they could do that? I didn't know they could do that. Just astonished at this turn-of-the-century technology. Thing is, the reason that those rails were going up on that lane is because there was a physically handicapped man bowling on that lane. Jump ahead if you want. You're not going to get extra credit. He had a walker. He would shuffle up to the foul line. His friends would hand him a ball. He would drop the ball. Half hour later would knock down some pins. And everybody would cheer. It's the very thing, like, Stevie got 5, and a whole bowling alley, like, hell yeah, Stevie, 5, nice one, buddy. Now, I know that my mom was pointing at the rails. She knew she was pointing at the rails, but because of the distance from where she was pointing from, nobody else in the bowling alley had any goddamn idea she was pointing at the rails, because they just saw a 70-year-old woman with a shock of white hair and a Bud Light in one hand and an incredulous finger in the other, just bellowing with the voice of a billion Marlboro Ultralights. My mom sounds like me. Just pointing at a handicapped man bowling in disbelief and saying, "Did you know they could do that? I didn't know they could do that. Did you? I've never seen them do that before. I didn't know they could do that." And I saw that and I was just like, ha ha ha! Oh, Mom. Maybe we don't point. Maybe we don't point because pointing's rude. Pointing's rude. You know how I know pointing's rude? You taught me that. You taught me that pointing's rude. I was little. We were at the mall, and a guy had a thing, and I was like, "Mala," and you said, "We don't point." That's what you said. You said we, but you meant me, and I appreciate you for that. You made it about us, not about the individual, and that was a learning moment for me. But so since that moment, we haven't pointed because we learned that pointing's rude, and we don't point anymore because we taught us that pointing's rude. Yet here we are, and now we're pointing, even though we know that it's rude. But yet we're pointing, and I'm trying to be nice, but she's still sitting there, Babe Ruth in this motherfucker. As I'm trying to explain to her, and finally I'm like, "Put your fucking finger down, you're being an asshole." She's like, "You're just being sensitive." I'm like, "Well, you're being an asshole, but I can't say that to her because she's my mom and she's old and she'll die." So I gotta bottle that emotion up, and that's not a healthy way to hang out with the ones you care about. You wanna be open and converse instead of just being like, "If you fucking point at the fucking crippled guy." Gave me a high score in bowling, I'll tell you that much. It's like 113, but still, for me, that's good. Because the rage is a great focusing agent, because I'm like, "Give me a heavier ball." I was trying to rip my shoulder out of the side. "You wanna point at something? Point at this spare, Ma. You point at this fucking spare." Ball's just sailing over the lane, going through the pins. Like you love them, you know? It's not gonna be easy. Like my mom's, she's got like, she'll just make statements into this world that are clearly answers to some sort of cosmic interview that's been going on since I've been able to form memories. That's the only way I can explain statements. Like, you might have somebody in your life, you know that they're in a room by themselves. Nobody's asked them anything, and they're not talking to you, but then you'll just hear something like, "Well, that's why they can't make popcorn on the space station." You're like, "That's not for me to know. That's not for me to know. You tell that one to the ghosts." That trip that they were visiting me, it was a Saturday afternoon. We're all in my apartment. We're all sitting around drinking coffee, ignoring each other the way it should be. Lack of conversation doesn't mean lack of love. Just let me look at you. And from what my mother says in that absolute silent moment, I can only reverse engineer what this voice may have asked. And the best thing I can put together, the best question, is that this voice just popped up and said, "Hey, Deb," because my mom's name is Deb, because those are the names you get in this part of the country. Single syllable, maybe a verb. My parents' names are Pat and Deb. That had to have been a line dance at some point. Everybody get on the floor. We're gonna do a little pat and dab, all right? We'll pat and dab. And pat, pat, dab, sidestep, dab. Pat and dab. My neighbors growing up were named Chuck and Mert. That is obviously a fly fishing technique. Chuck it, Mert it back, Mert it back. Again, dead silence. Some voice in my mom's head going, "Hey, Deb, how would you prefer to have postage delivered to your home?" That's a real weird question. But it's the only one that would make sense. Because in that silence of a Saturday, my mother set her coffee down and said, "I'll tell you one thing," which that's not how you start. That's a retort. It also means you're about to hear several things. Coffee down. "I'll tell you one thing, I would never have a mail slot in my door, only a mailbox." Fucking okay. The family said nothing. But the interview wasn't over. There clearly was a follow-up. Something along the lines of, "Well, why is that, Deb? Explain yourself." Because then my mother said matter-of-factly, "Because if you have a mail slot in your door, somebody could come by and put snakes in it." Here's the thing, she's not wrong. That's a true statement. But I'm sitting there just looking at her like, this is the woman you crave acceptance from. Maybe you need to reassess your relationship. Then I watched my father eat a banana. That shouldn't be a story. That should never have to be something that I have to retell to strangers for affection. Watched my septuagenarian father, 50% of the reason I walk this earth. Take a banana and calmly and with intent peel the entire banana. And then just hold that vulnerable nude banana in his dirty, calloused, union-certified hand. Like that's how it's always been done. What the fuck, my guy? Seven decades on this planet, and you still don't know your way around a banana? This man was a commercial airline mechanic for 40 years. I want you all to know that. And I want you to remember it. The next time you're flying, flying 35,000 feet over the Earth's surface, and that turbulence comes in, and the seatbelt sign comes on, and even the pilot does that thing where he tells the flight attendants to sit down, like, uh-oh, this is some business we're getting into here. When that moment happens, I want you to remember, there's a real good chance that Pat Kinane was under the hood of that steel beast at one point, just dropping nuts and bolts all willy-nilly style into the manifold, because he's too busy daydreaming about how to fuck up other fruit. What is that, 1/2 inch or 3/8? I stripped it out anyway. Hey, Tony, you think you get all the seeds off a strawberry before you eat it? I mean, that's a pretty meticulous endeavor, but that'd be one rewarding berry once you got around to it. You know I'm right. Bananas were the only thing that Kirk Cameron talked about in his weirdo born-again Christian bullshit YouTube videos that made me believe in God for a minute. I know that's a deep cut. For those of you that don't know, Kirk Cameron. Yes, that Kirk Cameron. of 80s sitcom Growing Pains fame. Mike Seaver hunked to us all. We were young. We were fluid before we knew it. See Mike Seaver. Ooh, he's got a small body like a bird, but that smile. I tingled. I didn't know. Growing Pains, indeed. Quit show business, gave his life to Jesus, and went batshit crazy, made a series of YouTube videos documenting as much. And I'm not saying if you're religious that you're crazy, but if you're born again Christian, you're crazy. Did somebody boo that part? You made it this far into the show? You made it this far? Well, now I've had enough. Now that he's got 3 minutes left, he really stepped on my toes. Really thought he was going to turn around the end with a group prayer. And Kirk Cameron comes on the screen in the one YouTube video that went viral a couple years ago. Comes on with that smug, saved face that they all have. Like you're supposed to be humble because you're with like God, but you're also like, you know, that I'm going to heaven, or you? Plenty of room, gonna have to do a little work. And he comes on the screen, and he's like, so, we still don't believe in intelligent design, huh? Let's take a look at the banana. He holds up a banana, and he just looks at it. He's like, oh, look at that. Look at that. You hold a banana. It fits perfectly in every little corner of your grip. Kind of like it's supposed to be there. And turns his head up to Jesus like, oh, yeah. Which, if that's your argument, then that steps on that whole anti-homosexual thing you got going on. But then, just equally amazed, he goes, and then, when you want to eat it, comes with its own biodegradable wrapper. And I watched that video, and I was like, I think I gotta go to church. Then my father came into my home and just went, fuck your God, and sat there raw dogging a banana. Like, that's how you do it. And then he had to get a paper towel because his hands were sticky. And people have the nerve to do genealogy tests. People have the arrogance. I want to know where I'm from. I don't want to know shit. I'm not digging around in that closet anymore. I wish I didn't know this much. I don't know what sort of black magic sorcery and fucking cross genetics went in to this produce toddler meeting up with the shadow whisperer. And they figured out how sex worked to put me here? That's all I got. I don't need to know anything else. I'm not spitting on a Q-tip and mailing it off to 23andMe or whatever, just so they can rush deliver me 6 weeks later a picture of a monkey with its dick stuck in a coconut and a home phone number of the scientist who did the mapping written on it in a hurried scrawl, like, Mr. Kinane, you need to call us immediately. You seem to be an anomaly of the human race. I don't need to know where I'm from, and I'm not having kids, so the bloodline's done. You're welcome, all right? Madison, thank you so very much. I love you guys. Be good. Thank you.